Hello, I'm Erin Tucker, and in focus today, COVID-19's impact on Chinese restaurants. I'm joined by Janet Kam, who is the owner of Janet Kam Consulting, which provides strategic planning services for restaurants. Welcome, Janet.
Thank you, Erin.
In your experience as a restaurant consultant to many Chinese and Asian restaurants, what has been the experience for owners and employees during the COVID-19 pandemic?
Once that it was said to be attributed to a certain part of China, violence began to happen against not only Chinese, Asians in general. And we see that now, and we are incredibly grateful for the sitting president to pass a bill to expedite the, the issues that are involved in those kind of crimes. The other thing that has happened, and particularly to a client of mine who has 3 restaurants, is vandalism. This happened at Q, that's in Bethesda. It's in a business building, and the glass was smashed a few months ago. And then, the restaurant that was up in Baltimore, so welcomed into the community, it opened in the middle of COVID-19. And it was carry out only. We had to shut the platforms down because it was just overwhelming. And in recent times, the window was smashed, even though they're welcomed into the community. So this is an issue, not only with this restaurant, but other restaurants as well. And, certainly this has been a great challenge.
Yes, it's so unfortunate. It's just really, really a challenge. One of the areas that a lot of people don't understand is the cuisine perspective. Would you explain the difference in ethnic and authentic Chinese food?
Yes, and this really affects how a Chinese restaurant is operated. Ethnic is considered ethnic among Chinese from China and what they consider their food. However, when you come to Chinese restaurants in America or American Chinese food, it's coming closer back to what is acceptable to the Chinese in China. And so it's almost a parallel running of a restaurant, because authentic really, what is authentic? You're using local produce, so that's going to shift the flavor profile a bit. But let's talk about what is acceptable to the palate. So I will sum that up in one dish. And that is, one of the chefs said, oh, I'm going to do a dish of shiitake mushrooms that's grown by the Amish. So that's brought in, it's local produce. And what do you think? I'm doing this with my house cured bacon. And from the Chinese perspective, fat is really a valued aspect of food and the lusciousness, but not necessarily so from American Chinese or the American clientele. And I found when I took the dish home, the remaindered parts, every bite had a piece of bacon. And the bacon was 2-inch by 4-inch and about a 1/4 inch thick. Delicious, by Chinese standards, but American Chinese or even Western, it's just a little bit much. And so we have to come to a compromise of what that is.
Absolutely. The palates are so different when it comes to Western, when it comes to the Western palate. So, being a specialist in the wine industry, which is really a strong specialty of yours, you have a unique lens of depth and breadth of the wine world. How is Chinese winemaking its way into the palates, even of Western drinkers and even Chinese wine consumers?
Well, as a restaurateur, a former restaurateur and founder of the first Nouvelle Cuisine restaurant in America in the 80s, we built a wine cellar and a wine list that was really only capable at that time. We focused on Burgundy and Champagne. This is high on the list of wines around the world. And so I have this knowledge, and also continuing the depth of tasting with collectors, et cetera. So tasting things from the 1800s. So given the basis of what the great wines taste like and how they marry with food, for Chinese, there is a long-standing culture of drinking. And this is a cultural aspect, and that's referenced through a distilled spirit actually called baijiu. And, to get to know your colleagues or your friends, you get together and you drink. And this distilled spirit is made from either sorghum, millet, or barley, and it is quite strong. And is being introduced in the United States. The second thing is that the wine is being made in China. And one of them is Aoyan, which I tasted the first vintage, and that was, the vintage was 2013. And this is made in a Bordeaux style, and certainly the president of LVMH, who helped push this forward. It's made in the Himalayas and the foothills. And apparently some of the people who pick the grapes have to wear masks because the air is rather thin up there. And this bottle on release is $250. Now this is luxury items and certainly a luxury approach. For the pragmatic, which is what I've done for 3 restaurants. This is where the profit margins can be had in restaurants. There's only so much that could be consumed in terms of food, and the rest is optional, is based in beverage, of which is my specialty.
Janet, thank you so much for sharing your insight. It's been a pleasure talking with you. And thanks to everyone out there for watching. Stay tuned for more from Georgetown SES.